India, the world's fastest-growing major economy, stands at a crossroads. While impressive economic growth figures make headlines, the country's job market tells a different story, one of stagnation, underemployment, and unmet expectations. India's working-age population is expanding rapidly, but the nation is failing to create enough jobs to absorb its vast young labor force. This issue, if left unaddressed, threatens to derail India's economic ascent and widen its socio-economic divide. The challenges are stark. Despite growing educational attainment, many young people are unable to find stable, formal employment and are forced into informal jobs with little security or benefits. Nearly 90% of India's workforce is employed in the informal economy, while only 10% of the 112 million jobs created in the past decade were in the formal sector. The jobless rate for those aged 20 to 24 stands at a staggering 42%, with many graduates lacking the skills demanded by the modern job market. India's educational system, with its outdated curricula and underqualified teachers, produces graduates ill-equipped to meet the needs of employers. As a result, a paradox emerges. The higher the level of education, the greater the likelihood of being unemployed. The mismatch between education and employment is a critical factor in the country's employment crisis. Women face even greater challenges in the labor market. Although enrollment in higher education is nearly equal between men and women, India's female labor force participation rate is among the lowest in the world. Societal expectations often keep women out of the workforce, a reality that holds back economic growth. Closing the gender work gap could expand India's GDP by a third by 2050, but this potential remains largely untapped. Politically, the employment crisis has far-reaching implications. In recent elections, dissatisfaction with the government's failure to deliver on job creation promises has contributed to electoral losses. Efforts to boost manufacturing, which was meant to account for 25% of GDP, have fallen short. While some multinational companies have set up factories, broader industrial growth has lagged, leaving millions to rely on low-paying agricultural and service jobs. The government has introduced measures to address the issue, including incentives for manufacturing and a training program for millions of workers. However, experts question whether these efforts are sufficient to tackle the scale of the problem. Simplified labor laws, increased private investment, and robust industrial growth are essential for creating the high-quality jobs that India's workforce needs. Without decisive action, India risks long-term economic stagnation. The country's per capita income remains significantly lower than the global average, and the gap between the rich and poor continues to widen. If India does not address its employment crisis, it stands to lose out on its ambition of becoming a developed economy by 2047. Job creation must be at the heart of its growth strategy to ensure sustained economic prosperity and social stability. The future of India's workforce depends on bold reforms that bridge the labor market gap and unlock the potential of a generation eager to contribute to the country's growth. If successful, India could lay the foundation for sustained economic leadership in the decades to come.